Welcome to Write With Us. I'm Vanessa L. Wild, and this is Daphne. we're a
My
couple
sound works.
yeah, we're a couple of friends who love writing, and we do write professionally, or at least, pleasure professional, right? Like we love it, but we all need accountability. I know, I do. So my way of holding myself accountable was to go as public as possible. Put us on YouTube so we could, talk about writing, issues around writing, the joys of writing, all the stuff about writing. And then also, we carve out a few minutes at the end of our hour to actually write. So, hi, Daphne. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. So today is St. Patrick's Day, and I didn't have anything green except my ghost shirt. But it goes with my paranormal. I'm delving into the world of the paranormal with my writing, so it kind of fits.
Yeah, that's super cute. I always say I'm Irish, so my blood is green, so I can
There
get
you go.
wearing green.
Perfect. Of course, I was thinking, I don't even know when this show will become, go live. I mean, it's live now, but I mean, when it's recorded.
Yeah.
So it won't be St. Patrick's Day forever.
I know, right? So like in a year from now, or even tomorrow, it won't be St. Patrick's Day. So if you check,
why is she wearing that green ghost shirt?
So
Kelly couldn't be with us. She had something last minute. So we were going to talk about our fears, what our fears that keep us from writing, but we really want to wait and do that with Kelly next week to kind of delve into that topic. So Vanessa she's an improv specialist, and I'm terrible at that. I plan everything out. So this is fun for me because we have no idea what we're going to talk about. She's going to throw a topic out there, and then let's just see where it goes. So
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Throw it up in the air.
Yeah, we'll just and see what lands.
Yes.
Okay, so what was your week like this week? Did you get to write? Did you have any challenges? Was it fun? Like what came up for you?
Yeah, I think every week there's challenges. I would love for there to never be challenges, for me to sit here and say, oh, I wrote every day and everything that I wrote was wonderful and such a great process. No, that never happens. There's always challenges. There's because there's life, right? So, but I'm actually delving a little bit into subscription services. So I'm going to be starting a subscription with my writing. And I think that the more I read about it, the more I learn about it, it really does seem to go well with my personality. It's kind of it's real community. You get to talk and get input from your readers directly, which is really kind of cool. I really like that. Because you're not just talking to anyone, you're talking to people that have read what you've written and they're interested in what you write, because if they're going to subscribe and pay a monthly fee to read it, they obviously like it. But the feedback supposedly is just amazing and can really help you as a writer. So that's kind of what I've been, delving into. I'd really like to go that route more so than just writing books and putting out books and throwing them on Amazon, seeing what happens and just kind of keeping my fingers crossed. So this is a whole nother thing for me that I'm excited about. So yeah, that was my week.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you kind of dialed that in, because when we were talking a couple weeks ago, you were just sort of like, should I do subscription? So you kind of decided to do it. So what platform are you going to do it on? Patreon?
Actually, so possibly Patreon. There's a new one coming out called Ream, and it hasn't been launched yet. They're still in the process of pretty much like creating it, but it's created by writers. So
What's it called?
Ream, REAM, like a ream of paper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's and it sounds spectacular. I mean, they obviously took Patreon and other subscription platforms and said, and, I realized, because they're for music and all kinds of things, right? I mean, you can be any kind of creative person, but specific for writers, writers need this and they need that, and so they're coming up with their own subscription service that will really cater to writers specifically.
I
And
love that.
yeah,
That
and
is
I
so
really like
cool.
it because since I'm starting out, I think it would be a really good fit for me because I'm
Will
so
you
new
put
to
that
this
in the
world.
message?
What'd you say?
Yeah, yeah. Will you put that in the message? Just type it in our chat. Um, the subscription service name, and maybe if there's a sign up for like a waiting list for people,
Yes,
maybe go to Ream and
I will figure out how to do this. So how do I do that?
okay. So do you see a chat function on your side?
Private chat. I don't think that's probably what.
So let's see. It should be it's to my right, and you might have to expand or decrease your
Yeah. So
um
yeah, talking. I can kind of play around with this and see if I can find it. But I'll definitely
yeah.
put that in there when I
Okay.
figure it out.
Yeah, so we're going live from Restream. Restream, we're still learning it. So it's like the thing with Restream is like you have no appearance touch-ups, no cool background.
Yeah, if you thought this was filtered, that's sad.
You look so cute though. I love your braid today. And your ghost shirt.
Always try to keep my hair back because if I keep my hair back, then my face lifts up, right?
You don't need like tape. We can
But I'm like,
I know it can make you really mental. I know.
But so how about with your writing? So this week, I mean, where are you? That's I'm so curious to know where you are in your writing. I know what you want to do with your writing, but if you could just kind of give a brief, synopsis of what it is you're wanting to achieve specifically, maybe your writing.
Yeah, great question. So I have 3 projects I'm working on. One is a deck of cards that I developed and brought
Oh,
Kelly.
wow.
Yeah, Kelly is my writing partner. So we have this incredibly beautiful deck of cards that's in the works. And that project came out of a challenge I run. It's a visibility challenge. So I get people to go on camera and write and post stuff on their social media. And so this idea partially for the deck of cards came out of the questions that I ask during the challenges. And they're questions that help you just discover more about yourself and then share it with, your readers, your audience, your friends, like whatever. So it's kind of like self-discovery. You can use them as oracle cards, but it's really about being your own oracle instead of us telling you like what's going to happen in your life. So that's one project. Then the other project is a book I'm writing about friendship with yourself. So self-friendship. And that's pretty cool, that one. And then the third project,
Wait,
and this is the
second one is you said it's a
book on developing a friendship with yourself.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah. It's been my journey. So I have amazing friends all over the world. Mm-hmm. And I mostly liked myself, but I really had to develop intentionally like my relationship with myself. So that's been a really cool process, and the book is amazing. I'm super excited to share that, and they kind of all tie together. Also, even with the card deck. Also, it's about knowing yourself and being yourself and enjoying who you are.
Because you have a very interesting background.
Yeah,
your upbringing.
So that kind of leads to the third one, which is my memoir, basically. And so the breakthrough I had this week was I don't want to write your typical memoir. That's just like, I don't want to write a novel. I don't want to write one just big book. I don't feel like doing
Right.
that. So I decided to write my memoir as a series of short stories. So there's 3 chapters. This just kind of came to me this week. So it's 3 main chapters or 3 sections. And then, however many important stories, highlighted stories there are to tell within that. And they're only going to be 1 to 2 pages. They're not going to be long subchapters.
Right. Oh, that sounds really interesting. That's a really great way to do it, though. It's just like little snippets of your life.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, and each story will lead into the next. And so it's chronological, but it's not like one, like sometimes it's hard to read a memoir because it's just this one long thing that goes on and on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. Like I love Michelle's book, Becoming. That's one of my favorite. And then The Glass Castle is my all-time favorite. Have you read Glass Castle by any chance?
No, I haven't. No.
I mean, it's an incredible story, but it's incredibly written, like incredibly well written.
No, I have to try that. Yeah, that's to read that one, The Glass Castle.
It's one of the most. I'm completely in love with her writing style. And so let's see. Let me get her. I'll put a link in here. So anyways, yeah, it's really, really wonderful. And the way she writes, she never tells you how to feel about her experience. And she doesn't say like, my parents were crazy. She just tells this exquisite story, and it's an intense story, but she just wrote it so perfectly that I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I read that years ago and was inspired by that, but now I want to write it more to my style, which is short stories that all lead up to sort of the next stage of my life. So it starts in childhood, then there's the middle life, and then there's the piece that brings me to now. So that felt like a huge relief to finally come into like what the structure, because that had me really tripped up.
Mm-hmm. And so these are your 3 projects, and you're currently working on the first 2.
I'm working on,
and then the third
I'm working on all of them at the same time, which is a little cuckoo, but that's just my brain.
And then what's your plan as far as like publishing?
Self-publishing.
Are you gonna self-publishing?
Yeah,
okay.
So this is what I learned through Hay House. I was in Scotland last year and went to their writing retreat, or the 4-day writing conference. And I don't know what you've experienced. I want to hear what you experienced and kind of why you went the route you did. But if you go through somewhere like Hay House, you might get a little bit of an advance. You get the Hay House name. You kind of have to run your own social setup. You've got to kind of make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I figured, why not give my money to a smaller publishing house or just publish myself? And I have my own social following, I have my own stuff. So like, why not just try it myself? And here's the thing. If you do it yourself and you build up your own platform well enough, you might get picked up by a more prominent publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's always the hope, right? I mean, for some other people, they wouldn't want a traditional publisher. So it really is it's really what your end goal is as to how you play the game, or, how you go about it.
So you're self-published, right?
I am completely.
Mm-hmm. And why did you choose to go that route?
There was no way I was ever going to be traditionally published. it's a hard thing. I mean, you can send out manuscripts and you can go through all the, you know, hurdles and all the things and try and try. I mean, it's just everything that when I researched and read about it, it's just it's a hard thing to do, to become traditionally published. And I'm not an expert. I didn't, who am I, right? So I figured, and self-publishing was really taking off. So when I started writing the first book, yeah, I mean, these are authors that were self-publishing their work and doing amazingly well. And they had complete ownership, which was really interesting to me. You can do what you want. You can put in as much as you want or not. It's you're owning your own business, right? Now the downside, I guess, is depending on if you, like for me, I love to write, but I really don't enjoy anything else. the marketing, there's pretty much, I really don't like anything else other than the actual creative part of writing. And everything else that I do, because when you're self-publishing, it really is, you have to think of it as a business. So you have to have a kind of a business brain too. Anytime I would turn that part of my brain on, the creative part just was gone. I could never seem to be able to do both at the same time, like wake up in the morning and write for 4 hours and then spend the afternoon, working my business. It's like, nope, I either can be immersed into my book and my world, and that's what I think about, or it's like an off switch, and then I'm into this. So I said, well, what I can do is and then I'll focus on the business part. And because I enjoyed it then, there's certain aspects that are kind of interesting. It's still not my cup of tea, but some of it's kind of fun when you're watching numbers and you're trying to rankings or that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that people do really well when they're able to do both well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have that kind of marketing kind of savvy and all that. I think that they really do well with that.
But you started out in marketing in your career, right? So like you have that background, but you're saying you can do one or the other.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm either
right
for marketing, but I can't do both.
Yeah, if I'm gonna, like, I could basically write a chapter, a 5,000 word chapter in the time that I could write a crappy blurb, that it's like, that's just something that I struggled with.
Yeah.
So then, it's just that thing. But some people.
So what'd
you say?
How are you getting your book out now? So I know you have your website, right?
Yeah. So I have the website, and I just basically now I'm doing the whole Kindle Unlimited thing, and it's yeah, I'm looking at the and so
no, but you saw it, so you should be able to write in there. If you saw that pop up, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Okay, so you put Reem in the private chat. You can chat now in this one.
Yeah, I'll have to try that and see, because it's not allowing me to get in there anyway. But for that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so it's just, it's a process. It really is. It's just a process of trying to figure out the best fit for you. Every writer is very different, and your strengths are going to be very different. And there's so many different ways you can go about it, and to put your books out there, to put yourself out there. Now with social media, you can do old school things. I mean, there's people thinking outside the box that are having great, they're getting great numbers with doing things very unorthodox. So
like what? I'm going to hear what that means. Like, what are some of the things that?
Yeah, there's things. It's called like a a mobile bookstore. So that was
Okay.
something I had. And so they go around and basically they're selling their books from like a kind of a bike cart thing, and they're going around selling their books like that. Like they'll go into
Okay.
Kohl's or like crowded places, and they have like a little bike cart, and they're selling their books in that way. And so
That is super
yeah, so
cute.
there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do. TikTok's huge right now for a lot of authors. So yeah, so there's just a lot of things.
Okay. So this is kind of a cool conversation because we went from like, I think most people go from thinking, how am I going to get my book out there? I really want to be a traditional publisher. I mean, I want to be a New York Times best-selling author because how cool would that be, right? But I would imagine you have to go through pretty traditional publishing routes to get to that level. And I don't know, but instead of thinking like we can't get our work out there unless we go traditional, there's so many cool options. So you're saying we can go and do a subscription service. So you have full control over your writing and how you get it out there, how much money you make. So yeah, there's a subscription service like Patreon, of course. You could jump on Medium, Ream, REAM. I put it in our chat.
Yeah, that launches in May, but it's
okay.
It's specific for writers. So it's I mean that I'm just super excited for that. Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. And then you're saying writers are bypassing just the traditional, even needing to be in a bookstore. Like you could go to a festival, set up a booth.
Yeah.
I love the mobile bookstore concept. Yeah. That's super cool. Using TikTok for your
marketing.
For your marketing. Yeah. So we're no longer like confined and reliant on these traditional publishing houses, which is to say that if you're only going to make a little bit of money on your book, but you have the big name behind you, why not just do it yourself and utilize all the amazing tools that we have and bypass that system? Right at this point, it's kind of like, why would you go through a big name publisher? Like, who cares?
No, that's the question a lot of people, it's that thing, I mean, it really, there's people making really good money self-publishing. And for them, I mean, it's a no-brainer. They, there's no way even if a traditionally regular publishing house came to, they would say, no, I'm good. Why are they going to, but there are a lot of people that self-publish that make nothing, that actually jump through the hoops, that do all the things, that do put all the work into it. And, it's a hard business. And, you always hear about the people that are making tons of money and their books become bestsellers, but then you don't, I don't know. Sometimes I'm always thinking maybe I could have had better luck being a singer. No, and I don't sing at all, but, but it is hard. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, I mean, and I guess that's like anything, right? Any business takes a lot of work. And so it's kind of deciding, from where you're sitting, it's like, how do you manage the creative writing piece? How do you manage the marketing of it and all these different things? And there are companies that can support you. There are people that can support you in your social stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I led a social media marketing class last night for the other class that I teach, and gave them a ton of tips on how to use AI to help with your marketing. So
I would love to take that class. I'd love to hear any. Yeah,
so you and I should just like jump on a call and I'll run you through a whole bunch of stuff. Because it's quite brilliant and it's easy and it takes like the weight off of you. So you can use chat. I mean, you're a writer, so you don't really need to go to AI for writing tools. But what it does is you could use it for additional research. I think for you, actually, what I would say is come up with like as many quotes and as many things as you want to tell people about writing. You could do snippets of your book. You could do cool lines of dialogue. You could talk about a character. You could just kind of use this as teasers. And basically you just go into Google Sheets, you just write all these little snippets down that you want. Then you go to Canva, I can show you how to do all this, but you can drop it in Canva, where Canva can create like the social post, what it looks like. And then we basically put it in Planoly, which is where you plan your social media. And so you could have, 3 to 6 months of content done over like a 6-hour period. We could just get it all done, plan it, and put it out there, and schedule your posts so that you don't have to deal with it. You're gonna have to deal with it for like a weekend while you work on it and put it together. But then the next 3 to 6 months, like, you don't have to deal with it.
Exactly. And and when you get into the author, like one thing that's changed a lot over the last, 3 to maybe 5 years, I'm not sure, but there's so many tools out there that are specific for authors. Like you mentioned Canva, and another big one that's specific for authors is called BookBrush. And they have a ton of resources that help you with your social media posts and they can do book cover designs through that. There's so many things that BookBrush can do. And this was a company that started that saw the need for authors and self-publishing.
Okay.
And they're really they do amazing things with book cover design and TikTok video for authors. And so it's really, again, specific for authors. And so there's just more and more of that coming out that are really that is like specific for authors. And I know a lot of self-published authors that hire people just to do their social media.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a big thing too, because they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to write the hooks. They may need to get an idea of your books and the content, or maybe kind of the direction you want, but they can run with it, and it's great. I mean, I've seen authors that have great success with that. It's taking that off their plate, away from their writing time. So.
Exactly. And it just, like you said, it's like your brain can go into the create mode where you're thinking about all the things, and then to have to switch into business mode is really hard.
Yeah, no, there's authors that have no problem with that. They actually enjoy it. They're really good at switching. And then there's the other ones like myself that just can't. I can't seem to, I lose grasp of writing. I'm in this like strange cycle of trying to figure out what I'm going to do to try to get my books marketed, and trying to figure out designs and all this other stuff. And so then the story's just gone. My characters are gone. They aren't even talking.
I feel like that happens with me too. It's kind of like I have to manage my writing plus teaching plus the sales contract job that I have. And so it's like having to switch my brain on and off like that is very, very difficult. What I'm looking at doing the next, between now and September is carving out a substantial amount of time just to write. And even if I'm going between the 3 projects, that's fine. But taking everything else off my plate, because it's very difficult. Like you said, it's like, you're planning and thinking about things, and it's a different strategy, right?
No, it is. And that's why a lot of people, they'll go on writing retreats. That's really popular. Or just go away. There's some writers I know, they'll go, like the 4 of them will go and rent Airbnb, like a cabin or just, whatever. And they turn it into their own little writing retreat.
Yeah.
And they're there, and then, they write all day, and then at night they can discuss their writing with each other, and, it's a safe environment, and they get a lot of work done. But yeah, it's that getaway, right, from life, and just try the work done. That's, and again, that's great. But if you want to make it as a writer, like you really want to make that your full-time job, you do have to incorporate your writing into your day-to-day life. You're just going to have to. You're going to have to find some way to get the writing done.
You can't just save it for the retreat and then you have to go
Yeah,
back to
exactly.
life.
Not, I mean, you can if if it's a hobby and you're just having fun with it. But if it is something you want to make it your livelihood, yeah, you're going to have to write every day, or at least
Do
pretty
you write
often.
do you write a specific time during the day for you? Like, what's your optimal time?
So I love writing at night. I write better at night. My problem lately is I'm tired at night. so by so I would love to carve out, when I do my writing is when I'm on a routine, and I'm just, and I do sit down the same time every day. And it's like I'm almost conditioning you condition your brain. My brain can be off, and then I sit down at that same time at the same desk, and it just kind of comes on. It's almost like, yeah, I've conditioned myself to do that. But there can be one key, like something comes up in life, or this happens, or whatever, and you get out of that routine. And once you're out of that routine, it's like, so you really do. It's like treating it like a job.
Yeah.
Because it is a job, but
Yeah.
it's a great job. But yeah, so it's a job that you hope to make money with.
Yeah. And you
right
will.
now, I consider it a hobby.
So
but that's why we're doing this, right? Accountability.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like we all have lives. I have a lot of stuff going on. My kid's grown up, so he's not around, so I'm not dealing with the that stage of life. But you have kids, right? You still have someone at home.
I still have 3 at home.
Mm-hmm. You have 3 at home, so it's like writing. That's why we called it like the writing meets real life live stream.
Yes,
because we're all busy,
I know. Yeah, exactly. And
we have stuff going on. Like, okay, so then my thing is, if I don't do these projects, these are things at my deathbed that I'm gonna totally regret. So and I feel that very intensely, that I'm meant to write what I'm working on. So it feels like my destiny, and so I'm like, I have to make the time. I have to actually push things away, because it's so easy. Someone's like, oh, you want to teach a new class? Do you want to do this? Let's start this project. And I'm like, party girl. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Throw it on the pile. Yep.
Yeah. So now I'm like learning to say no to things, because what I've learned is time is flying, and I don't want to, I have FOMO. So I'm like, I don't want to miss out on this. This is my thing. This is what I'm here for, I think, partly anyways. So
no, you're right, because you have a goal and you want to accomplish this, and you would have regret if you didn't give it a shot. And I mean, I think some of the most prolific authors are the ones that have that word in their vocabulary. No, they know how to say no. And they're able to carve out that time to write, because it is a priority, in their life. And so I think that that's what I'm trying to get to. And you are, we're trying to get to that, where we make writing a priority. And then once you do that and you start seeing, you start to gain ground with your writing, and you get better, and you're getting those words on the page, and you're starting to create this thing that you're creating, you can see, then you can go from there, and see what happens, and do what you want with it. And I think with this, accountability is huge. If you have self-discipline, then hey, you're ahead of the game. But if you don't, if you have a problem saying no, and you just don't have what it takes to just force yourself to sit down and get the words out there, then accountability is really, really important. Yeah. And that was why there's like writing groups, and they have they have like writing conferences, and they all these things to help you be held accountable for your writing, or it's motivation. I don't really know. I mean, motivation, accountability. There's all these like terms, right? but this is
Yeah.
like the same thing. It's like, sit down and write, and
Your butt chair and write that book.
it's like, goodness, and what it takes, it's like the hamster in the wheel, the stuff I've done through my life to get myself just to make myself sit down and write. You know what I mean? It's goodness gracious. I'll talk until, I can't talk anymore about it. Like I am now. No. But that was something too, for me with this subscription service was, I think that when you have, when you set that up, you're saying, you're going to subscribe to me to know that I'm going to give you a chapter or whatever it is, because every writer is different in what they're offering their subscription. For me, it would be very new, just basically chapters, is what I'm thinking. And I think that in and of itself, you're pretty much held accountable, because you have these people that, they're paying a monthly fee. It's not a lot, it's a little, but it's something, and they expect to get something for their, $3 or whatever it is, they expect something. And I think you have to know yourself as a writer. But I know for me, when you're throwing money into the mix like that, that will force me to sit down and finally get my chapters out.
Get it done. So is the concept that you write an entire chapter and you share it with folks and then you get feedback? Is that kind of the concept? Or are you sharing?
It's like, yeah, you can make it your own. You can do, so it's pretty much like subscription. You're saying, whatever it is that you're offering, you lay it out. And you need to be very specific usually in what they're going to get for their money. And you have to, be consistent and do it. Unsubscribe, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it's a great concept, and you really can make it your own. So there's authors that basically they give, they write a chapter a week or even a chapter a month. And if the people really like their, they'll pay to get that. But then there's authors that, give one-on-one Zoom times, or give ebooks for free. There's all these different tiers, and it's a subscription service like Patreon. So you really can make it your own. Some authors are really, they're really good, and they have lots of subscribers, and they're giving out merchandise, and they give out tons of stuff. I'm new to it. I haven't even set anything up yet. I'm still learning about it. It just sounds like a wonderful concept, and so I'm just so interested to give it a try. So this channel you'll get to see. So right now I'm in the learning phase and trying to figure out what I want to offer potential subscribers. But this is a long thing. It could take a year to get one subscriber. This is not a quick. This is if you're out to make a quick buck. This is not the way you do it. So this is like long term.
Okay,
which I love writing, so I have no problem with saying I commit to a long term game, because I really just truly love the process of writing.
Mm-hmm.
So if it can, and we'll see.
So it looks like Ream is for fiction authors.
No, it's for any kind of writer. Yeah, nonfiction. What's nice is they're going to set it up, and again, it hasn't launched yet, but they're going to set it up so that each, like it's basically like your page has kind of a community, like within each page. So you actually have like that's one thing. I'm not too familiar with Patreon, but from what I understand, it's like the whole community part of it is kind of lacking. Mm-hmm. So with Ream, they're going to really be big on that whole community, being able to communicate with your readers.
Okay.
So that's something that readers are wanting more and more of, that kind of connection with the author.
Okay.
So
Well, this is so cool. I'm on the website right now and I just signed up for their wait list. I'm joining their
yes.
Facebook group.
Mhm.
And so there's things that whoever's listening or whenever you guys find this, like sign up for it. It looks really cool. So that's such a great idea, Daphne. So that's awesome. Thanks for that resource.
No, I think it's going to be huge, and yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
As a new author, it's really exciting. Mm-hmm.
Game changer for writers. I mean, really, because there's no. I mean, Medium did a good job, but Medium is just very crowded, and I don't know. It's not really. It's like a mixture of like, you know, self-help type stuff and story. You know, like I think it's become almost like it's a lot of self-help type stuff. Anyways,
yeah, like a mix of different things, but this will be specific for books. So if you're a reader, I mean, this is a great place to go, you know, to find lots of different types of authors and lots of different types of books, you know, and they're going to have it set up so great for that community and the writer and the reader connection, which is such a Discord is huge here too. Getting a you know, having your Discord. I know Patreon does that. That's kind of more the community. They use Discord, and I'm not too familiar with that, but yeah. So I think that what they've done is they have seen what was lacking, what readers and writers specifically want, and they're setting up this platform that will give them the things, the tools, and all the perks and things that are specific for books. Yeah. There's an e-reader within it too, which is super cool. Like you don't have, they're going to have their own e-reader. They can read your books right there, you know, read the chapters right there. Yeah. So it sounds great.
Okay. All right. We're going to be successful authors on Ream. I love that. You know, no, I'm a building community. It's something that I do pretty well. And
yeah, so, you're very good at that. That's true. Yeah.
So I think that that's something that hopefully that we can get from doing this live stream is just kind of like bringing attention to new technologies and resources, understanding like the mind of a writer or different kinds of writers and challenges, and kind of just finding tools to help us through it. Because I know for me, I'm a complete spaz. In my brain, it is like a million miles a minute and 100,000 ideas. Like I have dialogue all the time in my head. Like I literally feel like I have voices in my head. And the only time it gets quiet is when I write, and that's it. So for me, I have to do this because I'm going to lose my mind. So I don't know if other people feel that way or other writers feel that way, but you know, there's all these ideas and possibilities and potential. And if you don't write, you feel kind of cuckoo. So this is super important for me. It's a priority in my life. I know for you, Daphne, and I know for Kelly, it is too. And we're just hoping to connect with other people who make this a priority and want to just kind of not put off our writing because, you know, quote unquote, real life happens. Kind of like, so what? Let's write anyways, you know?
Exactly. Well put.
Yeah. So what are you working on this week?
So I'm still working on that. I moved from my sci-fi books to paranormal.
Yeah.
And so, I am working on a paranormal, I want to do serial fiction, which is really good for a subscription service. So it's like a really long, ongoing, you know, story. So that's actually what I'm working on is serial fiction. Mm-hmm.
So do you know she's an author. Her name is Molly Harper.
Not familiar. Mm-hmm.
So it's not your genre at all, but I think she's prolific. She writes these stories, the serial fiction. That's a great way to say it. And it all starts with like it's called the Mystic Bayou series. And yeah, it's about, you might like this. Why would it not be your thing? They're very fun. They're really silly. But I've listened to, during the pandemic, I took a road trip around the US and her books got me. I listened to them everywhere I was going. So they're about it's about a town called Mystic Bayou, and in the town, people start to have these mystic powers, or there's like shapeshifters. So somebody could be a human but shift into being a deer or a dragon or whatever. It's kind of like, and they find this, so they're born that way. But in the town, there's this sort of energetic pocket that opens up and starts giving random humans powers and turning them.
Oh, that's interesting. Uh-oh.
This whole town that's kind of built on or with all these people that are really different, and they have all these powers, and strange things are happening, and people are dying, and people are, fighting for power. I mean, it's just kind of cool. There's tons of romance. Yeah, there's lots of romance. So it's almost like she's taking the modern issues of racism, inequality, all of those kind of concepts, but creating these really rad, fun stories, about.
That's a neat idea. Yeah. How original is that? That's great.
And so every story, they're not long, but then every story is about one or two characters, and they kind of all wrap and tie in together. So over time, you just have this incredible like movie in your own head about all these characters and the picnics and the babies born, and like all these cool things that happen. But it's similar to what you're talking about. So you might just check her out. She's on Audible and all over the place. But just as a framework for what you're doing, I'm sure you have other.
No, no, that would be great.
Yeah,
because it sounds exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
as far as like you said, the framework and whatnot.
Very different, styles, but they're also really fun to listen to.
That's great. And audiobooks are huge. Yeah. So
I mostly listen to audio now. I don't read a ton. I am reading Becoming, Michelle Obama's book. And then Untamed by Glennon Doyle is actually, I have it on audio, but I actually enjoyed reading it more than I did listening to it.
Wonderful. Well, no, that's a great suggestion. Her name again is Hopper.
Molly Harper.
Yeah.
Great. So I think she's just kind of nailed it and has this.
Yeah, with the serial fiction.
It's her awesome. Yeah. So, okay, well, we talked about a lot of stuff today. I'm just going to recap in case anybody's catching this. Is we talked about services and technology that can help writers, whether it's getting your book out there, self-publishing, platforms to put yourself on there, from Ream to TikTok. You talked about BookBrush, which is a whole agency that helps you design your book covers, deal with, be on social media.
Huge. They do so much. It's amazing.
And then my favorite thing that you enlightened me to today was these mobile bookstores, which I think is amazing and cool. That sounds very Portland.
It is. Yep, you're right. You're definitely right. Yep.
What else did we talk about? What are we taking away?
Yeah, just basically, how you just have to write and be held accountable for your writing in some way, or motivated, or whatever it is that, gets you to write. And that's a personal thing for each person. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the challenge this week is the directive this week is just like, get in the chair and write your books. Whatever you're writing.
Yep. Just get it done.
Okay. So my commitment to us, to hold myself accountable, will be to flesh out the chapters from the first and second section of my memoir.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And mine is to just sit down. I'd like to write the next chapter. Okay. Honestly, if I could write a chapter a week, that would be wonderful for me.
So is it just a matter of doing it for you?
It is. I mean, I'm not a pantser, so I do. I like to think about what I'm going to write. I don't outline it specifically, like each thing, but I do like to have an idea of the direction of where my story's going. Yeah. So it's a lot of thinking too.
Okay.
Books. So.
Yes. Okay. We have our jobs we're going to do this week. We have our commitments. We're good. And then next week we're gonna be Kelly will be back with us. She's just away on a family vacay for the weekend, but she's gonna join us next week. And what we're gonna be talking about are the fears that come up around writing. So, I think we all have them, right?
Yes.
Right?
Now.
Yeah, and they can be really deep seated. So we're gonna kind of fluff those up a little bit and talk about that. And then, yeah, you guys, if you like hanging out with us and if you want to contribute in any way, sharing resources, like, follow, and share I should say, like, subscribe, and share, and comment, like, chime in with us, hang out with us, bring us your ideas. If you have something you want us to talk about or research for you, let us know, and we'll do that.
Very good.
Do we have anything we want to write right now?
I don't know. Getting close to the hour.
I know. I was
Maybe.
If you had, here, let's do this. If you had 10 minutes to live, we have 10 minutes left of our show. If we had 10 minutes to live, what would you do with your 10 minutes? Want to write?
Right.
Okay.
Write what I would do with the last 10 minutes snow.
That's our prompt.
Well, this is a hard one. 10 minutes.
10 minutes to live. Who would you call? What would you eat? What would you want to see?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, it's really not, but
Okay.
Okay.
What would you do?
So mine was, I mean, it took me like 2 sentences. I said I would write. So, but I would write a letter to each person that I love, telling them how proud I am, you know, and like personalize a letter. I figure if I'm going to be a writer, I might as well go out with a written letter to each person. How about you?
I love that. Yeah, I said I would do a live stream and tell my son about his childhood and bring up all the moments of his love with him.
Yep.
But I want everyone to know about it because he needs the support.
That's great.
To remember how loved he is. And then I said if there was time and I was near an ocean, I would sit and stare at the ocean until my last blink and breath.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know really it just comes down to the simple things, right?
Yeah, just love.
Yep. So we do all this to, you know, we want to get our writing careers going and our writing, but in the end, it's day-to-day happy, right? So
yeah. It's just about who you love and how you love. Yeah.
Exactly.
So very cool.
Nice. Well,
all right. On that note, I'm going to ask you guys, what would you do if you had 10 minutes to live? So drop a chat or drop a comment in the chat for us. Even if you see this way later, would still love to hear what you would do with your last 10 minutes of your life. Until next week, we'll see you then. And Daphne and I, we have our commitments. We shared them with you. So hold us accountable. We are going to have to, now I'm going to share it with everybody next week. That'll be my accountability. I'll share it with you guys next week. So
can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about your chapter writing. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, have a great day, everyone. Have an awesome whatever you're doing. Have fun writing if you're writing. And just remember to resist your resistance and get your ass in the chair and do it.
Exactly.
Ciao for now.